And we're back.
Hello.
Dad is not around this week. He is traveling. By dad, I mean Nick. So we will be filling in an abbreviated version of the download. However, we do have a fun surprise for all of our booster holders and purchasers at the end. But today the topic is going to be art, and so we talked a lot about this Genesis stuff, and obviously I'm joined here with Fur. How are we doing, Fur?
I'm good. Good. How are you?
I am still recovering from Art Basel. I got the conference ick. Luckily, it wasn't COVID, but I am still sniffling a week later. But I had a lot of fun. Unfortunately, we didn't get to meet up
Yes.
because you didn't have a babysitter.
No, I was only there for the daytime events, except for the one event that we were hosting, but you guys were not here yet.
No,
So
I didn't.
unfortunately, I didn't meet anyone from the team.
Right. So yeah, I unfortunately didn't get to meet up. But I had a lot of fun. I met a lot of cool contacts and saw a lot of cool art and talked to a lot of cool dApps and protocols that are doing art centric things. And a lot of them were really interested in the whole buying process that we were having. It was fun. I was at one party. And he was a VC guy, and he was like, "Oh, you work at a layer one?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "What makes you guys special?" And I was like, "Well, there's not really any minting." And he's like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's consigned. So like the only time that happens is when someone purchases something." And he's like, "That's interesting." He's like, "That's different." And I was like, "It is." And so I got his contact information, and we're gonna chat some more. Hopefully, he is not sick like I am. So, yeah. So let's get into it. Let me put up my screen here. But first, a sip of chai, right? uh, so yeah, this is the download, the 14th edition. Nicholas. So, um, we're just going to run through some of these updates. So you guys have already seen this screen, and we've increased this 918 number, haven't we, Fur?
Um, no, that is the final number on join, and the side entries is all manual. So I'm not counting those numbers yet until I actually put them on the spreadsheet. But it is more than 918. Which brings me to something that I want to be very clear that even though all those artists did sign up, by the time of onboarding, I believe, like everything else, we lose some people on the way. So I would expect us to have around 800 artworks for Genesis. I'm not going to say that everyone that signed up will actually come through. Some people forget, they don't read their emails, and they get distracted. But a lot of people are just waiting for the onboarding instructions.
Of course, and which we have some updates on Studio as well,
Yes,
which is a
yes.
big part of all of this. So, yeah, so cool. But like I said, we're going to talk about some artworks, and so we're gonna actually like flip through some artworks and what we have going on the join page. If you haven't seen what we've been doing, there's a link right here that you can go look at the sign up. But I'm going to switch my tab over here, and we're going to go over some of the winners, right? I think that's what we decided we were going to do.
Yeah, I think, first, oh, look who showed up.
Oh, is Nick
Hello.
here?
Yay!
Come on. I already introduced us that we were going to be dadless today.
Oh, sorry. I'll leave then. Bye bye.
No, please, no. We lost him.
Get your ass back up
Well,
here.
I raced. My flight landed. I hopped. I got my baggage, hopped in the car, and came straight to my hotel. And here I am online.
How was your 14-hour, 15, 25-hour
16,
flight?
16 hours. Total journey time was about 21 hours. But here I am, excited.
You get a middle seat too?
Sorry?
I said, did you have a middle seat as well?
No, thankfully not this time. Man, those middle seats for 16 hours is a pain. But I just wanted to
Also
be
back.
here. This is your show. We had talked about it, so I just want to be here. But later, toward the end of it, I want to address some of the community's concerns around the swap thing we got going on. But I'm just
Yeah,
happy. I
absolutely. That'd be
wanted,
great.
you know, I've not missed a single one, and I'm like the flight schedule and everything worked out so I could be here. I told the driver drive fast and got here in time. So,
Papa is back.
oh my God.
Nice.
Like,
Awesome.
I'll just
Yeah,
shut
so
up
Nick,
and
well, just to catch you up, so basically we're gonna Fur and I were planning on just discussing a lot of art stuff today, and we're gonna talk about the winners and the features, and we're gonna highlight some of the pieces, like some of the ones I personally love. So that's what we're doing right now. So
Yeah.
well,
Zach,
I got
you
my hot cup of chai, so I'm set. I'll just sit and listen to Fur and you, and that's great.
you missed it, but before we jumped in, I said, but first a sip of chai.
Great.
Zach, I'll say like you stepped out of the slide before I could talk about the time frame. So if you don't mind going back there.
Yeah,
before we
absolutely. I
talk
can
about the
go
art,
right back. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we do have a lot of cool artwork that we want to point out, especially for people to keep an eye out for the opportunities. But first, I wanted to make sure that you understand the timeline. So right now we have all the arts, in the join that we're going to go through. We have curated some different selections, one for Times Square, one for Dubai, which the artists are not even aware of that yet. I'm going to surprise them and say they're going to be featured in Dubai. And after that, we're working with the Vitruveo studio for onboarding. So we have a time frame here that is expected to start onboarding on the 22nd. So that's that timeline that you're seeing there, like the 17th. Promote artworks. We're going to start talking about them online. And then we'll start onboarding. For the Metaverse celebration, I want everyone to save the date. If you're around the 23rd, we're going to have a Metaverse party. So you can meet the artists, you can talk to each other. I'm going to share links. I'm still organizing all of that. So be on the lookout for those informations. And yeah, so like we'll get into more details after we look at some art. I just wanted to make sure like you understand the timeline. So yeah, let's go back to that now. Zach, please.
Yep, absolutely. Sorry about that. All right, so here are the Times Square feature one. So like, talk me through that process.
Okay, first of all, I wanted to not be partial on choosing the artwork. So I made sure that we had 5 curators of completely different backgrounds and different communities. Because, like when you know your community, people expect that you choose them. And I know way too many people, and I didn't want to be partial on the selection. So the Times Square feature has nothing to do with me. We have 5 curators, and each of them had 10 to be selected. So they said it was the hardest job ever to pick out of almost 1,000 entries, only 10. But they all loved it very much, and it was fun seeing them actually struggle to pick their selections. But it's really cool, and so that's what they chose. We have a couple of artworks that I had to unfortunately tell them that it was probably not a good option because Times Square has a few limitations. Like we are not allowed to put nude art, for instance, and we have some amazing nude art in our entries. And a couple of them had been selected, and I was like, oh, I don't think that's going to fly. So we had to change it. But they are all in the Genesis, and you're going to be able to collect them. They're only not going to be available for Times Square. But yeah, do you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, no, I love this one. I love this one. Like, I don't know, it gives me like kind of like Banksy vibes, to be honest. Like with the like some of his spray paint work that he had done. I don't know. Yeah, I like this one a lot. Yeah, I'm just flipping through them while we're talking.
It's funny because Nick picked that one on one of our reviews. Like for those who are not aware, every now and then, like we jump on a call, like and we do a live review on artwork, and that was one of the chosen pieces. This guy, this is one I would say you have to fight me for it because he's a very, very good photographer. I have not yet been able to collect one of his one-of-ones. So I want this piece, and I don't, I don't know if you're going to be faster than myself, but I'm taking that one. That's on my list.
It's always cool. I like also like that some of them are like dynamic too. Like, you know, we mentioned that, you know, some of these things we're taking all sorts of mediums, and like obviously this is a video, which I have not yet watched, and like I am now, and I'm kind of like trying to figure out what the story is here.
It's really cool. I do love the animated pieces, and I think that's what makes the biggest difference on being able to appreciate art on a digital frame. So I collect a lot of animated art, and I love, you know, like all the videos, the actual animation done by drawing, and we have some very good ones in the batch. So
Yeah, I like this one. Yeah, this one's really cool. I like this one. Yeah, so all sorts of different things. And your comment about the whole like nudity thing, that's interesting, because like I lived in New York for a while, and like maybe the billboards, they don't like it, but like they don't care about it anywhere else.
Well, I know that it's being passed on. There is a law actually in New York. I learned when I was there for one of the NFT NYC, and you are allowed to be topless on the streets. Like the New Yorkers passed this law that they say, you know, like if a male can show their nipples, why a woman cannot. So there's a lot of nude artists that actually do nude artwork in New York, and I think that's amazing. But somehow for the billboards, you're not allowed to put nudity, you're not allowed to put political artwork or anything that promotes anger. So, and I agree, I agree to those terms. So we just got to be, you know, understanding of limitations. But I'm excited. I think we have a very, very cool selection. And some people have asked about the time frame on that. I will probably feature them in January because, well, first of all, like we're going to have the booster artists being featured now in December. I'm actually currently putting the artwork together and going to feature them next week. That's my plan. But the artists that are on Genesis, I actually want them to be in Vitruveo first. So after we onboard them, they go to Times Square. Not until that happens. I'm not going to be featured them saying like they'll come to Vitruveo, and then who knows, maybe they get sidetracked and they don't. So I want to make sure they're in before we feature.
That's really cool too.
Yeah, this is one of our curators.
Yeah, Nick.
You're on mute, Nick.
Sorry, this one is so amazing.
Yeah, I really like this. Like the whole pastel, like it's I don't know, it's just how do you
amazing.
create
It's like a bunch of works in one.
Yeah, it is. Like the textures come through like it's like an actual canvas piece too. I wonder how he created it.
I believe it's AI. Nick's he's one of our curators, and his focus is AI work, but he does animations, which I dabbled a little bit on AI, and I have not yet figured out how to do animations, but he's brilliant. He's really, really good. I collected some of his artwork on Tezos, and they sell out in seconds. So I want that piece too. I'm just saying, like, I have a list of artwork that I want to collect from Genesis. It's going to be a fight.
We should make a new category of furs do not buy.
I'll claim them first and say you're not allowed.
So speaking of, here's your piece.
Yes, that's my piece. And just so everyone knows, this all the pieces on Genesis, and that's one reason why I think we're going to lose some artists on the way, because I don't think everyone reads the instructions. The artwork on Genesis is 100 Vitru, which, roughly $150. A piece of this on my, see this one that is here behind, that was collected by our lovely Nick, and that sold for 1 ETH. So my artwork is underpriced by a lot on Genesis Drop on Vitruveo. And we have that with a lot of artists on Vitruveo Genesis Drop. So it's going to be a huge opportunity for people to actually pick up, first of all, a Genesis piece in a new blockchain. That alone is huge. And for the discount, it's just insane. But I'll have more news on that in a minute too.
I love this. I actually saw something on Instagram yesterday that there was like a meme but it was like a fake finger that you can put on your finger that made it look like this, or whatever. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it was like making fun of AI, like if you're doing a crime or something like that, and they like catch you, and you're like, no, that's an AI version of me. Look, I have 6 fingers.
I remember talking about this piece because we looked at this one as well on our review.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it's basically a riff on how AI for the first couple of generations just messed up every artwork with weird number of fingers, and it just could not figure out the fingers right. So if you look at early AI artworks, like crazy ass fingers, like 11 fingers on one hand sometimes.
And also like people's eyes are weird too. Like they're like everyone has lazy eyes as well, or like they're looking in different directions. Like I think that's a kind of a cool statement piece as well. And then another one of our curators. And then also let's go over some of the Dubai winners. And
so here, first of all, let me talk a little bit about the Dubai curation.
Yeah,
it was an absolute last minute. As all of you are aware, Nick's in Dubai for a meeting with investors, and it's going to be in a very cool location with a lot of very nice screens. So a secret location. We'll review afterwards, information and pictures and all of this, but not before. But so Nick sends me a message, as usual, close to midnight, and can you do something? And there I am, like, okay, I have to curate 36 artworks. And it's funny because 36. So I was not going to curate because I didn't want to have that burden on me. But since we already had the curation for Times Square, I was like, okay, now I can actually curate something. So we had specific objectives on this. It had to be a certain amount of artworks with horizontal format for the screens, and then some with vertical format. So I picked 18 in one direction, 18 in the other direction, and it was fun. So that gives the artists are not aware yet. I still have to let them know that they're going to be featured in this super private elite event. And it's going to be cool for them. So it's news. They don't know. I'm going to be sharing after.
I would just like stare at this one, like just like for like, because it's endless.
It's awesome.
Like stare and like drool would start to come down a little bit. Like
I love animation when they do the full loop. Like it's called the infinite loop. So you watch this and you don't know when it's going to end, and you realize you've been staring at it for like 5 minutes, and it's a loop, and
the loop is gone like 12 times too.
I love it.
There's a
have it home.
There's a couple of Reddit like subreddits that's like better every loop, and then there's one that's like infinite loops. And like I definitely, when I see good ones, I watch them over and over and over. My ADHD brain will just be like
Absolutely, I love it.
All right, so okay, before I start drilling on myself, let's move on to another piece. Okay, so
yeah, like some amazing artworks for that event. This one, like a few of them are actually selected 4 Times Square as well, but it is what it is. Some people are just that good and they get selected for multiple situations. So this one is a Times Square feature too.
This reminds me of like Loki, if anyone's a Marvel fan, like how he has this helmet, like so.
Yeah, there's an animation as well. It's not playing for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know, it's not playing.
Yeah,
hopefully the artist doesn't hear me saying that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's playing here though. Let's see.
Yeah.
But it won't play here. Okay, so we can watch it through this little screen. That's pretty cool. And there's that one again.
Yep.
And so like even like this is photography for sure. Right?
I'm not sure if it's photography or if it might be I don't know actually. I think this person does 3D artwork. So it might be a render. It might be a render. Not 100% sure.
Okay. That's what scares me about all of this technology is that like it looks all so real.
It's so hard to pick sometimes, like you just don't know. Which I don't know if you all saw. Has been a big drama. There's always a drama in the community, but the latest one was regarding a huge sale that happened recently. All the big names bid on that piece, and the person lied about it. It was an AI and piece, and she said she painted it, hand painted, and she even faked the work in progress photos. And I'm like, oh my god, this is so bad, it's so wrong. I absolutely love AI. There's nothing wrong about using AI, but you have to be clear about it. So that's something that we are always going to push, is that the artists are 100% honest, talking about their technique, their process, so people know what they're buying. Oh, I love this artist.
Yeah,
So
this is super like dystopic future, like kind of like dark and gloomy. I love it. Like and
yeah,
it's got the Japanese like inspired. I love Japanese culture. I mean, I have a whole sleeve of tattoos of,
cool.
Japanese. So yeah, it's this is really cool. I like this one a
Yeah, I
lot.
really like that one. And it's the thing is, I was just there this summer, and it's exactly like that, right? Like you got all the billboards and all of that, and the neon, and well, now mostly LEDs, but LED screens, etc. But yeah, that captures the vibe really, really well.
It's kind of
And regarding
2040
the
Blade Runner.
and regarding what you were saying, Fur, about the artwork, so we are starting off with like the know your creator, right? But
Mhm.
we'll evolve over time to create decentralized mechanisms where we can even have like we can try and root out that problem of fake artists, right? That's one of the main things we're trying to do, is build trust with the chain. So that was like that is a great example of when we actually start rolling out things where we can promote how using Vitruveo that could have been avoided.
Yes.
And another comment on AI too, like I love AI. I use AI every day. It helps me so much with various tasks. But the thing is, like, just being like artwork, this style, hit go, you're not going to get AI driven results. Like, the prompting is a science in itself. The inspiration and how you combine different like inspirational pieces, the quality and the mass amount of iterations that it takes to get something that is truly sale worthy is a gift in itself. You
Yeah.
know, I am not an artist, right? But I am a creative. So I would never actually, have a canvas and make something beautiful. But, with hours and hours and hours of time, I could make art. I wouldn't say of this caliber, but like it is truly a skill, and AI is truly awesome. So
Yes. Okay, cool. So yeah, we have amazing, amazing artwork. Not gonna lie, I would buy every single piece that has been submitted. I can't get them all, and I think we could start talking about the
yeah,
surprise, which some people.
I want to show the one that I want to buy.
Yes.
This is I love this style. This is the one I want to buy. Nick, what do you think about this one?
Wow, that's amazing. I love it. As a combination, I love the colors and its cubism. Really, it's great. uh I would comment more, but I'm busy modding the comments right now. It's here because
I, I don't even read because I know they're very distracting. I'll leave it to you
yeah.
guys.
Oh yeah, I can't. I'm sharing my screen, so I
Well,
don't even.
there's a bunch of bots there. So yeah.
So now the shoe's on the other foot. So normally I'm doing that, and then so now I know how the other half feels.
Cool.
Um,
I wanted to tell people like you put the link for this on the deck. So if anyone actually wants to go and check out the entries, when you go on an artwork, you can check the Twitter handle of the artist, so you can actually research on them. Like right now is the time for you to do your research because you want to get the artist that you like. You want to make sure that you grab your Genesis piece. And let's talk about this because I think you're not aware of what is coming for you. I'm super excited to share.
so just to recap where we are now, right?
Mhm.
So we've covered all of this. So the Vitruveo Studio Alpha, the alpha version, which you will use to start onboarding these artists, starting December 22nd. And then
Yes.
we went through the curated collections of the Times Square feature, the Dubai event, and then the Metaverse celebration, which we're going to peg for 12 Eastern approximately, we decided, subject to change, but most likely.
Yeah. I'm going to, yeah, I'm still working on the gallery. I'm waiting actually for an airdrop of a very cool gallery. It's a custom gallery made by Art Unchained, and they are gifting me the gallery for us to use. So waiting for that. We had to hold back because of all the ledger tobacco yesterday. So we're waiting to make sure it's safe for him to actually use his ledger and airdrop me the gallery. And then I'll set up and we should be good to go for December 23rd. Yeah, so that's that. And now the big news. You can change the slide. Okay.
Surprise.
So the way that we're doing this, I wanted to first of all, I want to be super clear and honest about this move, because some people may not understand our choices, and I want to make sure that you understand why we're doing this. If you look at any blockchain, whenever they get started, they want to make sure that the artists are interested in joining. Artists come when there's money involved. Artists come when there's sales guaranteed. So we're guaranteeing those sales. And the way that we're guaranteeing them, instead of like what has been done in all the other blockchains, which is, their treasury buys out the first batch of artwork, we are giving you a voucher. So everyone that has bought a booster has a voucher per booster to claim an artwork. Now, here's the problem for you, and I like this problem. We have more vouchers than we have artwork, so you gotta be fast. And you're going to see what is the whole FOMO of claiming a piece of artwork, and like how people put timers. They're waiting. Like I've done this so many times, I can't even say, like, I know a drop's coming. I really want that piece. I have a timer. It's like 3 a.m. I'm waking up to claim that piece. So I want you all to feel the rush of getting a cool piece of artwork. So we're going to do this on batches. We're not going to get everyone to release their artwork at the same time, because we're going to be testing out our product. So Vitru Studio is going to be testing. I'm going to get a few artists each time. They're going to test, and then we're going to roll out from December 22nd until mid-January. We're going to be putting out those Genesis artworks available for you. Of course, we're going to give you a heads up. We're going to announce before they're ready to, claim. But you're going to, I recommend you start doing your research, checking what artwork you want, and then be ready to claim your artwork. I am super excited because I actually bought boosters, and it was a decision before we made this decision. So I'm like, I actually have some vouchers, and I'm going to be fighting for those pieces that I actually want. So yes, one booster is one artwork. I will say this, we will roll out new projects afterwards that everyone that has a booster will be able to claim an artwork later. So there is going to be an opportunity if you miss the Genesis, but there's only one Genesis. So you want to get your Genesis piece. Just saying. I hope you like this.
I just want to chime in here and say, like, the folks who have stepped up and bought the boosters, they have essentially been instrumental in rejuvenating the project. So we want to make sure that they get the recognition and the benefit of it. And yes, there's all the crypto stuff. I get that, but we wanted them to have something really, really special. And this is something really, really special. So as a booster holder, you have the ability to go click a button, and one of these amazing artworks that these artists have worked so hard for is going to be yours. And it is something that is actually something we're very proud of being able to do for our booster supporters.
So speaking of, we actually have one of our artists in the comments saying how happy they were to have been participating in this drop. So I found it. Boom, there it is. And so I just wanted to give a shout out, give a highlight. Thanks for coming.
It's awesome.
And so as it's covering first face. It's for
we have an artist here. We have an artist here with a question. Do you want to take that? Here we go.
Okay, that doesn't apply to nano boosters. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, no, they want to know about nano boosters.
Oh, okay. Yes. So you can talk about nano boosters, but they're not
Yeah.
going to be claim an artwork.
Yeah. Nano boosters are essentially $10 a piece, and they come with coins, but they don't have all the other benefits of boosters and super boosters. So this artwork drop for claiming is restricted to the boosters and super boosters. Sorry about that, but yeah, it is indeed a very cool benefit, and the way we are imagining it is that we are going to have a pre-alpha version of the studio, kind of, that we are essentially fast tracking everything here to be able to give everyone in the community, the artists, etc., seeing this live on the blockchain. And in doing so, we have to essentially think about what are the features we really, really, really need. And so that's what the Vitru Studio is that we're building. But then to claim, we have to create a variant of what will eventually be a Vitru
Mhm.
store. So, but we are creating a very, very simple version of it where the artworks are there. You click a button, we check if you've got a booster in your wallet. If you do, and you have not claimed an artwork with that same account, then you get it. And later on, you'll be able to transfer, sell, all of that, because we will have a full-fledged store for it. But there is a ton of engineering work that's going on here in the background, and this includes protocol changes in order to make this happen. So mainnet RC2 is going to have changes that are instrumental in enabling this particular thing to happen. So fingers crossed, everything goes smoothly, and we can get it. It's literally about 12 moving pieces of software of different complexities that have to come together for this to happen. But when it does, boy, it's going to be great. I'm really, really excited about it.
And so I've been seeing this question, like, I have 12 boosters. Does that mean I get 12 vouchers? Yeah. Yes, that's what we're saying. So I don't have the exact number, but I did like a rough estimate yesterday. We have around 4,000 boosters. And so though the numbers don't add up, right? So people who don't beat the rush, right? You will still be able to claim an artwork at a later date as we onboard more artists. Yeah. So don't feel that like, oh man, you will, So maybe you want to wait, keep a couple just in case something really cool comes that like sparks your interest. And Fur like gave a little bit too much sauce on like her strategy. And we didn't really get into it, but there are some very notable artists within this Genesis collection who sell for an ether more on other chains that are participating. So you need to go out and find those artists. And then if you want to hold it forever, you can, but at least you know what that artist's going rate is on other chains. And so when secondary is an option for you, if that's an option for you, you could make some returns. So go have fun with that. Go gamify that. And I mean, more importantly, buy the artwork that speaks to you. But yeah, for those who are the trader and like to do that kind of stuff, Fur gave the secret sauce.
Yeah.
So, well, it's a competition, right? Like whoever's transaction gets in first, and the nice thing is that just like we've done the prior sort of swapper and all that, we now know that the block time is pretty reliable at 5 seconds, so it's very fast. Things happen very, very fast. So there's a bunch of questions there. I think we should address them while we are on topic here. Yeah,
absolutely.
Stop the share so we don't cover Fur's face.
I'm happy to
this is a good one. So these artwork vouchers will become NFTs for our wallets?
No, the way we implement it is at the time you go and press that buy button, we will check your wallet to see if there's a booster there that has not been used. So it's an auto voucher. You don't have to do anything. And if we detect that you have an unused booster, meaning one unused for the purpose of acquiring an artwork, then you can go ahead and get the artwork. But if you've got none, then it will tell you you cannot claim one.
I also started this question just to address it. Is there going to be any considerations in giving artwork costing multiple vouchers to bring more value to the art?
No, and I did put a lot of thought on this. I have considered that, but we want to make Genesis a special occasion. And we are very welcoming to all artists of all backgrounds. So we're not doing this for the hype or for the history that the artist has. It's like it's a new blockchain, it's a new ecosystem. They're going to come in, everyone in the same level. And of course, like people will rise as they rise in other blockchains, but we're starting everyone at the same level. So I want it to be very equitable on this. I don't know if that's the right word.
I think that's the right
I think that's
okay.
Let me see what else. I mean, we kind of addressed this, what if we swap to a different wallet that we bought boosters with? It's about the booster, and Nick kind of decided it's not going to be like an NFT, so it'll register, hey, there's a booster here that hasn't got a voucher yet. So if you have any other questions.
Yeah, just go connect with whatever wallet has the booster, and don't worry about which wallet that art ends up in. It'll be that same wallet, but later on you'll be able to transfer it. In fact, you probably will be able to do it directly if you know how to interact with the contract. But if you want a UI and all that, that's going to come later for transferring stuff. But this is all on chain. This is going to be sort of in the artist's contract. So they are going to be minted.
The male person is outside. Don't be a stereotype, dog.
Yeah. So let's go through this. There's a bunch of really great questions here.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna pull them up.
Let's see. Okay. Can a Genesis artist buy a booster with the Vitruveo that they will be paid after sales? No, unfortunately, because in order to buy a Vitruveo, you need stablecoin, and the buying of boosters is not happening on the Vitruveo chain. It's happening on Binance and Ethereum, because this is we don't yet have the stablecoin capability on Vitruveo yet. All right. So this one goes into some math here. So if one has 50 boosters and used 25 to boost and left with 25 boosters unused, we'll get 25 vouchers to get 25 arts. Yeah, you need to separate anything related to boosting and Nexus NFT and all of that. It's very simple. If you have a booster in a wallet, you can use it to buy an artwork. I would imagine that if you had that many boosters at that time, you would probably have a bunch of browser windows, and each one connected to a different wallet. So you can go buy on a bunch of them and see what you can get. But you have a booster in a wallet, it will check, have you used that booster to buy an artwork? If you have, you cannot buy it. But if you haven't, the artwork is yours. First come, first serve.
I'm back. My ferocious dog has been contained.
Let's see here. Let's see. It says, where could I find the benefits again if I buy a booster? Could they quickly go over it again? Yeah, so you can just go to the Vitruveo website. It's like vitruveo.xyz, and you can see all the just click through, and all the information about boosters is right there. And here's another thing here. Not booster related, but wouldn't stretching out the best schedule help sales pressure? A lot of blockchains have 3 to 5 years. Maybe, okay, I thought this was related to art, but it appears to be something else. All right, so let's hide that one. Okay, do we see any more?
I don't know.
All right, cool, yeah. All right, so we are now getting into the usual crypto questions, which is fine. We can feel all those after this. But I would like to basically ask people who have boosters to comment, like, what do you think of this? Like, what we want to do is sort of stay true to our mission. It's about creators, right? And so my philosophy has been from day one to align the incentives for crypto investors and artists, because that's the magic unlock of Vitruveo. So far, no blockchain, no marketplace aligns very nicely the incentives for crypto investors and artists. And that's what we are doing. That's novel and different. There's all these other features. But at the end of the day, from a conceptual standpoint, it's art in the past 400 years has always been elevated when people who celebrated art were also wealthy and were able to contribute. That has resulted in a very small microcosm of people who have had the benefit of experiencing art. We want to make art accessible to the whole world, to everybody, right? But how can we do that? How can we make it beneficial for the artists to do that while without relying on just a few people? Well, the concept turns out is very simple. Web3 brings us that. Allow the crypto investors to make money while artists get sales, and the sales go to everybody, so this is what we are doing to align incentives, and this is what's really radical, I would say. In fact, I spent like a couple days ago just writing up a whole bunch of slides that we're going to have for our event, and I use this term that I really like, the radical renaissance. So this is what we are doing. It's really radicalizing how art is funded and grows. So this is very exciting for me. All right. So I'm seeing feedback here about this. All right. It shows me that you care about us, that we're boosters with this voucher scheme. Yeah, absolutely. We care very, very deeply about it and want to make sure that we provide as many benefits as possible. So if we are not able to buy a Genesis art and have to wait, will the voucher have unlimited value when purchasing another piece of art at a later date? Unlimited value?
Well, we're going to roll out other opportunities to get more art, but as I said before, Genesis is only Genesis. There's no other Genesis.
Yeah, but they're talking about the value of it. It'll always be 100.
Yes, it's the same value,
Yeah.
but we'll add other opportunities at that value.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like I don't want people to feel like there'll be artworks later that are thousands of dollars and you can use the voucher for that. Unfortunately, we cannot do that. Speaking of that, Fer, I think it's worthwhile addressing a little bit about pricing on here. So one of the things, let me just set the stage and then I'll let you kind of take over and give your opinion. All right. So one of the things is on Ethereum, people have artworks priced at all kinds of price points. And because it got very expensive for people to be able to afford some of that art, people started having what are called editions. All right. So with artwork, and people who are not in NFTs don't know this. So we take it for granted, but it bears explaining a little bit. So you can sell an artwork as a one-of-one edition, meaning it's unique. You get it, you're done. Or you can sell it as one of N editions, where N can be 10, 30, 100, whatever. And so then what artists do is price it much lower because it's multiplication. They try and get what they think the artwork is worth by multiplying the individual price of each of those editions. Now, along the big problem with Ethereum has always been gas prices. Yes. So if you are, for example, if you have an artwork that's priced at $100, but the gas on it is $150, that's kind of non-starter, right?
So then the price of the artwork before.
Yeah. So then came, Tezos and Solana, etc. But Tezos in particular, artists gravitated toward it. It becomes sort of the artist blockchain, or in the sense of artists supporting each other. Because one of the things that happens, if you're an artist and you put an artwork out there on a marketplace, and because artists right now are responsible for their own marketing, maybe not everyone is really good at marketing and promotion. And in fact, they aren't, right? Like artists are artists. They are not marketers. They are not out there on social media all the time. So as a result, they might not have sales. And that can be a bit sort of disappointing. And it affects your morale and it affects your ability to create more art. And so organically, what happened is on the Tezos blockchain, with particularly the object marketplace, it became a place where artists go and support each other, and they mostly have very low priced editions there. So if you go to Tezos, you'll see that most artworks are priced super low, etc.
Yeah.
Now, what we want to do is create a platform where the gas prices are low. So you take that out of the equation. But from a pricing point, we want to make sure that it's a fair price for artists. So Fer, take over.
Okay. First, let me talk about the situation with the other blockchains and why I think we have something here that is unheard of. So on Ethereum, everyone goes there with the hope that they're going to become like super famous, hype, and end up in one of those Christie's auction or something like this. But the truth is, it's very hard. And when you realize that you can't really match those prices, you start putting lower prices and no one buys because the gas is so freaking high. And then you go on Tezos, and I was talking to some of my Tezos groups today, and we're exactly saying like people are tired of just trading art for art. I say like I rather airdrop artwork, and I do that all the time. Like I gift people, they gift me, and that for me is a fun way to exchange. But that's like we shouldn't be buying to buy back. And that is just like, and that's the situation on Tezos. It's mainly artworks that are super cheap that artists buy from each other. What we have here is a very unique place where the gas is not going to be the problem. So artists can have, cheap editions. It's super, super okay to do that. But in the same time, I see that we are also going to be where Christie's and all the other, big auction houses are going to come for, because we actually have a proper structure for art. So we take out all of those problems and we bring a solution where artists can be at their best. They can sell, cheap editions to have an ongoing business that sells faster. They can have their big priced one-of-ones, and everyone can be, how they want to be. So we'll do a lot of workshops. I believe that education is super important. People ask me how to price their work. I've given several workshops on that. So that's something that will guide the artists. And one solution that Nick brought to me recently, which I really love, with our multiple licensing system, we have this idea that you don't have to make the decision if you want to sell a one-of-one or an edition. So what we do, we have a flexible model where you can say, okay, if you want to pay a one-of-one, it's going to be 100 Vitru. If you want to pay like an edition, it's going to be 10 Vitru for 10 editions. So whoever goes first gets that option. Now, Nick, that idea that you gave me was brilliant. I'm not sure if you want to share about that, but I love that flexible edition model.
So yes, absolutely. So we call it elastic editions, and it's going to be a game changer for our artists in the world of Web3 art. And as Fer was describing, elastic edition is essentially putting the artist in the driver's seat, but allowing the buyer some degree of control. And the way elastic edition works is that ultimately you have to think about your monetization of the artwork. How much money do you want to get for that particular artwork? And you can then decide if you want to list it for one-of-one. You could do that, but more likely what you could do is you could list it as one of n, where if you multiply n by whatever price point you set it at, it will add up to be the amount you want to sell the artwork for. What happens is the first buyer that comes along, they sort of decide for you what's going to happen. So if there's a buyer who, for example, likes it as a one-of-one, they click buy and they got the one-of-one. But let's say that it's become the first buyer instead buys it as using first pricing, for 10 Vitrus, right? So they got one edition. Maybe another one comes in and buys a second one. So now there's two editions out there, and you have the maximum number of editions is 10. So the third buyer can come in, and guess what? They don't have to buy the artwork for 10. They can buy the artwork for 80, and instantly it becomes a one of three. So yes, the third buyer paid more, but this is what we mean by elastic additions, is the number of additions is always controlled by the buyer. You can think of it as a buyout. Like, I frequently love to do this on Tezos. I go and I see that someone has 12 artworks, and 5 of them are sold, and I want to buy the rest of them, but I have to go to one, and I would just rather soon just press one button and get all of them and limit. I don't want 6 copies of that artwork. I want one copy of it. I want one NFT of it. And so by elastic additions, we are going to change the game significantly. And I'm really excited about that feature. I see a bunch of other questions there. So let's take some of these. So Sumedha asked, how do I put a price on my Genesis submission? So Fer, why don't you take that and I'll take the rest of it.
That's what I meant when I think some artists are going to probably not complete onboarding on Genesis because they didn't understand the the information up front. We are doing a guaranteed sale of 100 Vitru. So your artwork for Genesis is going to be 100 Vitru. That's how we can guarantee. That's the budget that we're assigned because it's a token allocation budget. We're not going to have, like you believe your artwork is worth 500 Vitru, but no, it's not going to be the case for Genesis. Genesis is a very specific drop. It's an opportunity to be a Genesis artist in a new blockchain. And we set the price because it's attached to the booster. So that's what we want to do. We want to reward the people that have invested in the boosters and reward the artists at the same time for onboarding with us on Genesis. So we have a set price to be able to guarantee those sales.
And I'll address the rest of it. So
okay.
I know there's a bunch of artists listening in the audience. So I'd like to just,
like awesome.
Yeah. So I want to. Sorry. I want to set the stage a little bit and help you understand, because this is not something you go through every day. You are participating in the genesis, the birth of a new blockchain, not a marketplace, not a store, not a dApp, a new blockchain. So the blockchain is forming. Like, we've got the initial blockchain running. We are adding the dApps to it. We are adding the features to it. We are enabling in short order here in the month of January, listing on exchanges, things like that. So everything that is happening here is all new, step by step. So pretty much any question that you ask related to, is that there yet? You'll find that it is going to be there, but somewhere between now and the end of January is where all of this starts to come together. So now about your specific question, what is the value of Vitru versus USDT? Well, currently we are selling NFTs which represent our token Vitru at a price of $50, right? Now the price on the exchange will be established later when it's actually trading on the exchange. Right now, you cannot buy or sell a Vitru directly. You have to go to our website and buy a booster. That booster is designed for crypto investors. So the trading, etc., will come a little later. And right now, what we are focused on is the 918 or 928. What was 918 artists who have submitted artworks for our Genesis. So we are talking about how they will be the first ones to use this product we are building called Vitru Studio. Vitru Studio is where artists will upload their artwork, etc. And then we'll go through and we'll have lots of videos and information about it right now. But all of this is coming together right now. So that's important. Now I see another related question from John Watson. So let's bring that up. So Fer, back to you.
Okay. So yes, like it's only submitted a JPEG. Yes, so it's fine. The example that is submitted is for submission entry only. It's not your final NFT. Once we get into the onboarding process, that's when you upload your full resolution final artwork to be on Genesis. So you don't worry about the file that you submitted on Join. It's not a problem. We'll get the onboarding process on email soon. Like I'm setting up the blast email. So hold on tight. I'm waiting for information on Vitru Studio to start sharing a little bit on the email as well.
Yep. Okay. So I see a couple of questions about the deadline. The deadline has passed. It was December 7th. So that was for the Genesis. Now we'll go through, we'll create the studio, etc., and then we will basically make it open. So at that point, you'll be able to come and consign your artwork. And you'll hear us say this word, consign, again and again and again. And we want more artists to get familiar with it because you're used to mint. And we are saying, on Vitruveo, an artist is never going to mint their artwork. There is no need to, because the software, the protocol, mints your artwork on demand based on the channel it's coming from. In fact, it's entirely possible that you will make money on Vitruveo without minting your artwork. Why? Because if you look at the screen behind Fur and the screen behind me, that's streaming artwork. So we will have the ability for your artwork to be streamed, but there is no NFT involved. And you get paid when your artwork shows up on someone's living room screen. We will have application license. Application means a print license, for example. So when someone wants to print your artwork, they don't care to own the artwork. They just want it on their shirt, right? And so there will be nothing minted there, and you will make money just for giving them a license to print.
I want to comment a little bit on this because I see today we actually have a lot of artists that are joining, and some of them have not really listened to all of what we're doing. And I think, one of the biggest concern on artists when we talk about consigning and instead of minting is that we are familiar with the lazy minting process on OpenSea, which doesn't exist anymore. Like they took that option out, and we didn't like that because it was under OpenSea contract. So when we started having the whole manifold option, that's when, we had our contract, but then we had to mint. We didn't have the option to have lazy minting and the artwork to be minted upon sale. So that was not an option anymore. What we have here that is completely different. I think it's important to emphasize our contract format. So when you join Vitruveo, when you create your artist profile, you go through the True ID, which, we'll explain more about that later. When you bring your artwork and consign, and a contract is created upon consignment. So when you come to Vitruveo, you have your artist contract done for you. You don't have to learn how to do your own contract. It is already there. So everything that you do on Vitruveo is going to go back to your contract. So super excited about that feature.
Yeah, this is an important thing. Yeah, one creator, one contract, and no matter which marketplace your artwork is purchased on, it will be within your contract. And our goal is to have hundreds, even thousands of marketplaces all on our platform. And right now on Ethereum and Tezos, everywhere, the purpose of a marketplace is for an artist to mint their artwork, list their artwork, and have a buyer buy their artwork. Well, the purpose of a marketplace on Vitruveo is slightly different. It is merely to display artworks and have a buyer buy them and maybe make a small profit in the process. But the entire process of consigning your artwork is at the protocol level, the blockchain level. The process of issuing an NFT, if one marketplace requests it, is done by the protocol. So marketplaces have no say in it. They can only charge more, and even that you can get a percentage of royalty if they upsell your artwork. So what we've done is fundamentally looked at the economics and really the workflow that artists go through, and looked at everything that's broken. And believe me, a lot of it is completely broken. And we've fixed that from the creator's perspective. We have fixed it because our goal, our single mission here for the Vitruveo blockchain is to make it possible for creators to have a sustainable income. So how do we do that, right? So we address all those problems. And one of the big problems is distribution. Like right now, you are the creator, you are the distributor, you are the marketer. We don't want that. You be the creator, you are the artist. We let other people who know how to market your art do the distribution through you for multiple channels. So these are some unique differentiating factors around around Vitruveo.
Nick, you weren't on
So I
earlier,
guess
but we were talking
yeah.
about Art Basel a little bit, and I was talking to some like, what do you do, man? And kind of conversations, and I ran into a lot of the crypto bro influencers and even some VC people, and like I would to talk about the process of like how we're different and the consigning, and like some of them were like, this doesn't compute, like they're so used to the process that is that I had to be like, let's take a step back. It's like, instead of this, it's this. And they're like, oh, that's really interesting. And I was like, yeah, like it's completely different. And, instead of pumping your own bags and buying assets to try to make money off of, you can promote artworks, and as you're, because like I was talking to like some of the bigger people in the space when it comes to like Twitter, I'm like, now you can align with artists that you like their artwork, and you can just promote them and have a percentage off the top, and you don't have to actually buy in said assets. And they're like, that's really cool. I was like, yeah, it's going to be really awesome.
So a lot of people have heard about the Pareto principle. It's the 80-20 rule. You spend 80% of your time on things that really don't matter, and 20% is that what really matters. So in the space right now, artists spend 20% of their time creating art and 80% of their time on wasteful activities that basically involve sticking around in a space waiting for their 30-second or 2-minute whatever turn to pitch, etc. We want to flip that. What we want to do is essentially say to the artists this very simple thing: spend 80%, even 90%, even 100% if you want, of your time on your artwork and on the quality. We want to greatly elevate the quality of artworks you can find in Web3. So that's not just about the artwork. It's about how you tell the story about the artwork. So that we call metadata, right? Information about the artwork. Right now, artists spend barely, I've seen artists list. I've been sitting next to them when they list. They spend 2 minutes typing in the title. They might even leave it as the file name. And they maybe will put a description or something. No, that hurts your ability to sell the artwork. We are elevating artworks to museum standards, to top gallery standards. What that means is you have to sit there and focus on making your artwork high quality. You need to sit there and make sure your artwork conforms to some of the size specifications, etc. You may not like it, but if you want people to buy your artwork, if you want them to stream it on screens like that, you need to make your artwork fit standards, right? Standards exist for a reason. So, and we'll allow you to have your organic sizes and all that, but we will say, if you put these sizes, it has a greater chance of people wanting to buy it, of people wanting to stream it, etc. So you do that. Then you also provide metadata. We need to know, what things like what medium the artwork is, how was it created, etc. So this is where some of the things where people can't lie. Like if it was an AI thing, you will have selected AI on there. Why? Because the big problem right now in the world of NFTs is discovery. Like go to OpenSea right now and type in a keyword. You're going to get a bunch of usernames. You're not going to get artwork. You cannot put things like watercolor or I don't know, digital art or 2D, 3D and get meaningful results. With Vitruveo, we have metadata that conforms to museum standards. And so your art is going to be discoverable, and it needs to be, because if someone's going to curate your art for, let's say, an airport or a bank lobby or a hotel lobby or something like that, it's not going to be found if you don't have description and the right keywords and all that. We're going to help you get there. But you as an artist have the responsibility of positioning your artwork in the best way possible, and then you're done. You don't have to do any marketing, any sales, any distribution. You don't have to show up on social media if you don't want to. You don't even need a Twitter account. We don't care about all of that. We care about you having a kick-ass artwork conforming to some standards, upload that to the blockchain, and you're done.
I think you said an important word, which is we're going to help you. And some people like myself, we have more, I don't know, more information from the traditional industry, or I don't know, like from education or whatever it is. But whenever I did my contracts, I created traits with the important information, and some artists that I know are very, very focused on that, especially photographers. They know that they have to put some information related to, location they shot that artwork, the year it was created, all of this. I had a lot of artists come to me and say, like, can you give me a list so I can put that on my artwork as well? Because they don't know what needs to be there. So we are telling you what are those fields that need to be informed. So you're only going to have to worry about putting the information. You don't have to think about what you need to put there. We'll ask you. See, like, you're missing to tell the year this piece was created. You're missing to tell, give a title. Some basic information, but yeah, anyway.
All right. So I think we've kind of talked a lot about artists. And of course, Fer and I are on regular spaces because that's where we find a lot of artists. So we'll be doing that. I might actually hop off this call and just go start a space, to talk more about this. But just want to address a few things related to the project also. I think one of my latest updates in minor updates should have given you a lot of the information, but I just want to repeat it here for those who did not. So Swapper 1.0 is, as what we're calling it, is currently out there. I worked on the flight here, and we'll be working tonight and tomorrow on Swapper 2.0. We'll publish that out, and that's going to have two really important features. The first one is that a number of validators essentially want to split the ownership of their validator node in an account and the coins, the unlocked coins that it comes with, to another wallet. So that feature was not present in Swapper 1.0. You can only move your validator node. And as a result, we started the process of doing it manually. Well, after doing, 20 of these support tickets, because I'm handling them myself, and seeing the backlog of how many are there, Swapper 2.0 is an opportunity for us to build that feature in. So we'll put in a feature where if you have a validator, you can designate moving the validator node to a different wallet, but the coins stay in that account, the original account, and therefore you've created basically now a holder and a validator, two wallets. So we'll do that. But more importantly, the Senate voted on a proposal around swapping out Vitruveo for some of your Vitruveo in order to essentially balance out our cap table. And what we will put in Swapper 2.0 is the ability for anyone to go in and specify how much of their bag they want to be able to swap to Vitruveo. So it can be all the way from 0% all the way to 100%. And the basic philosophy here is that if you do nothing, the default is 50%. So we'll swap that 50%. Now, there's been some really, really good feedback and some really, really good ideas even after that proposal was made. So we are considering all of them, and don't be surprised if there are more benefits that are announced related to that swap. We want to make sure that everyone's excited about it. We need to do this, and I want to clear something up really, really. It's really important that everyone understand this. I keep seeing comments that, oh, the VCs want to do this, etc. No, that's not the case at all. What institutional investors, not just VCs, institutional investors and exchange advisors who are working now on getting Vitruveo listed on exchanges are advising us that the cap table has some problems. Like in any industry, typically, when you go through a listing process, etc., for maybe it's stock based, and then you go to like a Wall Street, you go to exchange, one of those. But here in crypto, there's a standard for what people expect to see in the cap table with different categories. And what people are raising for us, these people who are savvy, they understand this, are two concerns. One is that there is tremendous sell pressure at month 7 due to approximately 2.4 million coins coming vested every month. So that starts a huge sell pressure. So what is the downside of that? Well, think about it. If you're an institutional investor, you put a bunch of money into a project, would you want to see the gains that have been made by using your capital on the price to be completely obliterated, once these coins start getting vested? So that's, no one wants that. In fact, regardless of whether you put in a lot of money or little money, you want the gains that have the traction that has been gained to continue to be sustained and grow over time. You don't want that to be obliterated. So that's a valid concern. The second concern is that people love our business model. They understand what we are going to do. And if you look at any other protocol and you look at the amount of funding they've had, there are rounds of funding. You go through multiple rounds of funding. And one of the challenges with our cap table is because there's so many coins allocated to the existing sort of investors, there is not enough in the treasury to do follow-on rounds of funding. So what that means is, how do you grow this protocol? How do you continue to grow and make sure that we do the product development, the protocol development, the marketing, the business development, all of that costs money, right? People who may not have had a startup before or run a business don't factor in the cost of human resources, of marketing, etc. All of these things have costs. So we will need to do a follow-on round of funding later, probably in the $50+ million range. And in order to do that, we need to be able to have coins to be able to issue to these investors. And those don't exist right now. So this is why we're trying to address that problem with the cap table. It is not because some VC said, do this or else. No, it is people basically saying, here's my advice to you, take it or leave it. If you don't take it, then what do? Well, you are deliberately ignoring sound advice from people who know what they're talking about, right? That would be foolish to ignore that advice. Now, it would be different if it was one person or two person. We're talking about practically every investor who's looked at this deal and practically every exchange advisor who's looked at this deal giving more or less the same feedback. When you hear that consistently from lots of people, you have to act. And that's the reason why we are doing what we are doing. So I just want to make sure that everyone understands the motivation for that. It's not because a VC said, I will only give you money if you do that. That would be stupid and dumb, and we wouldn't make a business decision based upon that. But when you have, a lot of people pointing you and telling you that there is a fundamental issue that you need to resolve, it's up to us to resolve it so that we can have a stronger business. Our focus here is to create long-term value, right? We are creating something that is going to be there for decades and is going to be very, very instrumental in transforming the world of art. And in the process, the folks, the crypto investors, we want to give them significant benefits. We want to give them value. And one of the things that people care about a lot, I know, is passive income streams. So that's not going to happen if it isn't possible for the blockchain to sustain itself and thrive and grow. So we are building a business for the long term. And this is why we need to make sound business decisions. All right. Let's look at some of these questions here and see if there's any that I can answer that
are we going to consider increasing the vesting from 18 to maybe 3 years?
That addresses one problem. Look, any solution has to address two problems. It has to decrease the sell pressure, and it has to make coins available for future capital raises. Now, the easy solution is to just add a bunch of coins, right? But then you have another problem. So the thing is, there are no simple solutions to this. If there were simple solutions, it would be done like that, right? You have to consider the nuances of every action here. So let's say, for example, we just add a bunch of coins. Well, now the market cap is the problem. No one is going to look at a market cap when you have more coins, right? It's coins multiplied by the price. And so if you have more coins, that means you have to lower the initial price. So market valuation is not completely out of whack. Because if you're a brand new blockchain, you're coming out of the blocks, you've got some traction, etc., but you say that you're worth $300 million. Well, people are like, that's doesn't compute, you know. So you got to have a reasonable valuation also. So every time anyone proposes a solution, I encourage them to think about, does it check all the boxes? Because it's not just about checking one box. It's like there's a bunch of boxes that need to be checked for the solution to be valid.
I'm starting a bunch of things.
Here's a question. Is it still possible to buy a validator full node? So I think those are being handled by the validator team. If there are any swaps going on, etc., so those are handled by them. So yes. I'm only going to address questions from people who are sort of in the know right now, because there's people just coming in who have had no knowledge of what has transpired in the past 4 or 5 months. And so that's going to take them a little bit of time to get caught up.
I just started a pretty recent one about the Nexus percentage goal.
Yeah. So Zach, let's just address the BTC issue, because that is there. So why don't you give the community the latest on the BTC?
So yeah, if you go to the Genesis allocation sheet, if you have done the steps properly to validate your Bitcoin wallet, you should see it there. And then at some point we'll merge that into the swapper contract. But if it's there, it's confirmed that you've done all the steps properly. I have them all up to date as of this morning. If you're having any issues, watch the video again. Maybe I'll make a walkthrough for people to do it again. But I mean, we've had like 9 people do all the steps. And you know, we have 116 people that need to do the full steps. Yeah, but that's the update there.
Yep. I see you've started a few. Bring those up, man.
Some of them are a little old now. Right here, what is the Nexus percentage goal? Is it to drop it from like 40% to 20 to 25?
Yeah, so the Nexus actually has 2 categories within it, right? There's OGs and there's validators. So validators, no problem. We just leave that completely untouched. So it's that OG thing. So overall, basically trying to get around 10 million coins, and the math computes now. Based on the strategy we have created here, approximately 10 million coins will be available. So yeah, 20 to 25% is a reasonable number to move that to. The lesser, the better. And I can tell you that with the proposal done, etc., you can still see in the Senate, there's probably going to still continue to be dialogue around it, because we want to make sure that we create something that is fair, right? We are asking people to swap. It's important to understand that whatever we do, we want to create a fair system that's there. And this is why, even though the proposal is done right now, I'm still thinking of ways in which we can make it beneficial for people to hold the Vitro token.
This is kind of an interesting comment. How about you unlock people's wallets in waves, or you decide to be in a later wave, you could get more tokens for waiting longer.
Yeah, all of these things are great. We can do them, but one of the things that also we are trying to do is, we've got the vesting, but we don't want to put more sort of blocks and locks and things, because it takes away a little bit from the decentralized ethos, so we have to do the vesting a little bit, because otherwise it's not sustainable. But I'd hate to put in more things where people have to wait for things to happen, etc. And again, we have to remember, any solution must check all the boxes, and you can't just delay the sell pressure. That's great, but you also have to add tokens to the treasury so that there is follow-on funding capability available. But yeah, all of these are great ideas. I think people, I love the fact that people are contributing, and giving these ideas. We just have to make sure, like if you go down the list, right? What are some of the things that you care about? One, and the foremost and most important one, it's legal, right? That's important. Two, uh, it doesn't uh, disenfranchise someone. Like basically, it needs to be something that's fair and takes into account the fact that you get a reasonable value, right? Like it's a value transfer. So we got to do that. And third, uh, it must achieve the goal of tokens being freed up, coins being freed up to go to the treasury where they will be vested. So, they'll be unlocked every year, so that way, that the treasury has in 2024 so many coins it can use to get funding, 2025 so many coins to get funding, and so on and so forth. So I feel like the solution that is there right now is pretty reasonable, and I feel like if we add one new perk that I'm actually having a coffee with our lawyer in the morning here in Dubai. I just want to go through with her before proposing that. But if it passes muster, then I think we'll have a solution that actually makes the Vitro swap really attractive for a lot of people and balances risk. So looking forward to sharing that tomorrow after my meeting with the lawyer.
I'm not seeing anything.
So there's a question about Trust Wallet. Let's address that real quick.
Oh yeah, the Trust Wallet. That was weird. I mean, we've talked about this, Nick, that we use the Wallet Connect, SDK, which is pretty much the standard. But the solution for people in the short term was to export to a MetaMask in order to do that and then delete the connection. But we haven't really investigated further of why Trust Wallet wasn't necessarily interacting well with Swapper.
Yeah, I think the iOS is blocked, right? Like from doing that. So I think the only recourse is to temporarily, just start a new browser profile, get your Trust private key, and use it in another wallet. Maybe not even a browser. Actually, use an app wallet, which means there's less risk. So Garda or something like that. Use your private key to do whatever you need to do, and then delete it. So remember, your wallets don't contain anything other than your private keys. So you can use that private key with something else for the temporary purpose of achieving whatever you have to do. When you're done, go back to using your Trust Wallet.
And that's what people with ledgers have been doing as well.
Yeah. Right. You don't want to use a ledger right now, so yeah, that makes sense. Now, just to be clear, right? You don't want to use your ledger on anywhere where, just anywhere, right now.
Not right now. No.
Is the problem?
Well, the export happened at the Wallet Connect level. That's where it happened.
It is fixed, but they still recommend 24 hours.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, I need to eat something.
Is that sweatshirt really needed in Dubai? Like, it's probably pretty warm there.
At night it gets a little cold. It's like 60s or whatever. I don't care. That's my brand thing. I wear a hoodie everywhere. They're thin. They're not like a thick hoodie. It's just like wearing a shirt or something. It's just my yeah. So this is good. All right. So now the team's working really hard on basically making all of this happen. There's a ton of work, and as I said in my update, I don't think people understand the number of projects that are part of this one project. It's almost like we are doing like 5-6 startups at once. Any one of these, like Vitru Studio, could be someone's entire business, just entirely. We're working on that in parallel with the protocol. We've got this event that is coming together quite well, but creating all the slides, the marketing slides, etc., for that event, because there's some screens there and we want to show amazing things about the protocol, etc. That's all work that has to get done. And then um, I'm working on a calculator, so got to get that done. But I'm also working on Swapper, so I got to get that done first. But I'm also working on the legal aspect. You can see how Fur is curating all these artworks, etc., doing all of that, and and I drop things on her at midnight. Yes, unfortunately, because we are all juggling things that are like with time horizons of, okay, get this done in the next 4 hours, and you just got it, and you already have all this on your plate, and you got to do this, etc. So it's crazy. I think a lot of us are pulling so many all-nighters. It's not
I'm glad I
healthy,
used
and hopefully,
glasses to see the dark circle under my eyes. I like glasses
yeah.
because of that.
But in January we'll change that, because look, we want to create a business which has a good sort of life work balance for people. Um, a lot of the pressure to get things done is artificial. It is based upon people asking the question when, and as a human being, you automatically feel like, oh, they want it like right away. Yes, there's a lot of things, and a lot of people want things right away, but you have to keep things in perspective here. We started on the journey of creating a brand new business model, etc., basically at the end of July, at the very end of July. It's only been a few months, and we're trying to do a lot of these things. And guess what? We can have whatever schedule we want, but the moment you have external parties involved, and you have processes involved, and you have legal things to be done, you can aspire for whatever you want. I can tell people whatever date I want, they can listen to it. It doesn't matter. They have rules, and they have their own schedules, and you got to follow those. So the moment you start interfacing with external entities, that's just going to be a problem. So while we will keep up the pressure and try and get things done rapidly, I'll just be honest with you, I don't care for unhealthy work schedules for people. This is not the business we are building. So people are just going to have to wait. That's we just And we're not asking for unrealistic wait schedules or anything like that. We're just saying that things have to happen in a particular order. If you don't do them in that order, and if you don't give people the right amount of time, and this is especially true of developers, guess why there are so many huge hacks out there? It's because some idiot manager told the developer, doesn't matter, ship it now. They didn't allow them to do proper QA testing. They didn't give them a chance to really analyze what the feature should be. And so most of the hacks are because of idiot managers, not because of developers. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to play that game. We're going to make sure that developers have proper time to test things. And people can ask when, and oh, it's late, etc., all they want. But we're going to be reasonable about it. Like, there's a balance there. It can't be like, let's take a long time and get everything done. No, we want to have a balance around it. So people need to be a little patient and just realize that software, especially, but some of these business things take time. And that's just the reality of it. So, all right. I think with that, we can wrap it up. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Sorry,
We're gonna make it now. It's
I
an hour
crashed
and a
the
half.
party.
I'm glad you crashed the party. It's great.
Yeah. It's always more fun with you around.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Zach. See ya. I'm gonna grab something to eat now.
Next week.